This is a presentation about how we are using practical metrics and visualization to support our teams. Tony couldn't come because he had an ankle injury. And we both work in eDreams ODIGEO as agile coaches, and our mission is to support our teams in order to deliver great software and value to our customers. This is a slide, maybe you know it. Thanks sponsors, because thanks to you we are able to do this event, and it's a very, very good event. So as I said, our main focus are the teams, so we want to help them in order to make it easier for them to deliver this great software for our customers, because we are an online travel agency and then we need to protect. This is me in the picture. We are using Kanban to visualize our work, so our method, we are transforming our company into an agile company, and our approach is we have chosen Kanban because it's a lightweight approach, and our idea is to visualize all the work we have to do and to limit our working process. So this is why you can see a lot of post-its, that we have lots of things to do, but we are focusing on the most important ones. These are the principles and values. That main principles are that you start with what you are doing, and then you try to find an evolutionary approach to what you should be doing. With the practices, main practices are, we are trying to start from the top, visualizing unlimited width, because it's easier to just visualize the work you have to do and to limit the amount of work that you can do to balance that. And everything else will come. So we will try to improve and evolve, but first we need to understand what we are doing. So in order to do this, it was very important for us to reflect on what we were doing. So it was very important for us to try to understand what the teams were doing and how they were feeling and all this stuff, because it was, as I said, very important. In order to do this, we were using two different kinds of metrics. We have objective metrics that are just data, pure data. That is objective, so time is objective, so you cannot change it. The amount of tickets that you are delivering is subjective. And we have some subjective metrics. Subjective metrics are based on personal feelings, like maybe today I'm very happy, but maybe I have another different day that I have a hard situation, so I don't feel that happy. Regarding objective metrics, the main metrics we are using this year approach with beautiful cat colors. This is a hack. And we try to understand the lead time of a ticket, of a work item. So I don't like to name them tickets, but this is Jira. So what is important is that we have a feature that we need to deliver to some of our users, because it's going to cover their needs. And we need to understand when we start working on that feature and the time it takes to deliver that feature to the customer. So that's a lead time. On the other hand, we have different times where there is nobody working on that item, because maybe it's blocked because you are waiting for an answer, or maybe you have some dependency or some people who have to develop an API, or maybe it's just working because you structure your work, so you have analysts, you have developers, you have testers, and as we are in a resource efficiency mindset that everybody needs to be busy, then you finish your work, you put it in the desk of the other guy, and you wait for him to work. So that's what comes to flow efficiency. Flow efficiency is a metric that is the active time that you are working in a ticket, adding value to that, divided by the lead time, that is the total time that you take to deliver the usual metrics in teams of people who are measuring this flow efficiency is around 15%. So 1 out of 6 time nobody's working on the items. This is because this is why projects are late. It's not because you are very bad. It's not because it's just because you are trying to be all very busy, and then nobody's working on the project. And the last metric is the throughput. The throughput is just a measure of the number of items that the output that you generate. To us, this is not too important because it's just a metric that it could be helpful for forecasting. If you want to do probabilistic forecasting, it's helpful. But it doesn't mean it's not good for comparing teams. You cannot compare teams, say, this team is delivering, I don't know, 30 tickets a month, and this other team is delivering only 10 tickets. Because maybe the size of the tickets are different, or the difficulty of the tickets are different, so it's not something that you need to compare. To visualize this, we are using Daniel Vacanti's tool. I strongly recommend the Daniel Vacanti's book if you are interested in actionable agile metrics. And I don't know if you are familiar with CFDs, but basically you can see the total work in progress that you have, the approximate average cycle time that you have. So if you go this direction, these are the timelines. And you can see your throughput, that is the slot, let's say. We have ECBI, that is a plugin for Jira, so we can manage this. We don't need to program anything. And we can see things like the evolution of throughput during time, the run charts, so you can see if there are some outliers that are taking more time. You can think about those outliers, what happened, reflect on them. And on the other hand, we have these subjective metrics that we are trying to be proud somehow. Basically, we are measuring two different things. That on the one hand, we have the health check that is based on Henrik Niebuhr's work for Spotify, and the Agile Excellence that is based on David Anderson and Christophe Assouditans. The name, I'm sure it's wrong because I cannot pronounce this kind of thing. But basically, it's try to visualize on these practices. There are different activities that you can be doing with your teams. And if they understand those practices or not is what we are trying to measure and to improve. In order to capture the data, we have chosen a basic approach that is just to send a survey in Google Forms, and then we capture all this data in Google Spreadsheets. In order to visualize these subjective metrics, we went into a lot of different documentation and papers, and this is one of the most famous visualizations, that is the Napoleon's trying to invade Russia. But, it's, like, yeah, it's kind of difficult, but it's important. So I'm going to switch. It works. Yeah, because this was Tony's part. I'm sorry. I had to deliver the content. Okay. First of all, this is what we built for our teams. We wanted to be able to understand these subjective metrics, and we didn't have any tool in order to measure that. So we started with the health check, as I said. This health check was based on the Spotify model. Basically, it's you have different areas like I don't know, teamwork, easy to release, the health of code days, if you are having fun, if the process is suitable, if it matches your way of working, and it's completely subjective. It's something that you run a session with the team, and they try to vote like, yes, I'm extremely happy with this area, or maybe I'm extremely disgusted. So it's important to run these kind of sessions in order to find where you should support the team in order to balance. So first thing we did was we started simple. We ran some face-to-face meetings with different team members, and we started to collect all this data manually, like pen and paper, very easy. So we moved this into spreadsheet, and we tried to visualize different charts. They were bar charts. We said, okay, let's see by team how they are feeling. So let's compare teams. Sadly, but let's compare.
Hostia.
I can see some discrepancies. But it was not that important to compare. It was just more like, for us comparing, it was more like for polyizing. Like you have some teams that have a strong difficulty in some area, and there are other teams that are more happy. Maybe you can try to talk each other, and so yeah, it's not to compare to punish them. And by area. So we said, okay, this is the evolution. By month it was very important because it was very important because you were comparing the same team to the previous team like in the past. So that was important. And by area it was more like, okay, maybe there are some areas that everything has in common and they are happy. But things got complicated because so we had to engage more than 20 teams. So trying to visualize all these bar charts with more than 20 bars are very difficult. And on the other hand, this data was not that actionable because we didn't know where to improve, where to support the teams, because in the end, everything was too messy, it was too complicated. So we went back to where we started and we read the article again. We found some very interesting things. But, one of these was that this visualization is very, very helpful because you can see by columns, you can try to find difference between teams, and you can say, okay, squad 2 have some kind of issue. Maybe they are not positive, maybe they are angry actually, and squad 4 are quite okay. So it's something that is very, very easy to see. You don't need to think about and so on. If you look into the rows, you can try to find systemic patterns, something that is common to the system, to the organization. So you can see that there are some things that maybe the health of code base in Spotify, they were having some kind of issues because it was common pattern for most of the teams. And in general, in the overall pictures, you have all these kind of arrows that you can see if the teams are improving or if the teams are going back to where they were. So we said, okay, let's do something like this. And we tried to do it. And we were quite successful. But we created this by hand. And it was very, very hard to keep it updated. Because as you can imagine, we had to color every single dot manually. It was Mandrolic. Mandrolic is like huge. And it was very difficult to share it in the organization because we keep this document in some Google folder or something, and it was, even if you share it with everybody, it's not easy to find it and so on. So we had some issues, but it was much better than the previous bar charts and all that. So we evolved and we said, okay, what should be the best option that we have? Okay, we have a wiki, that is corporate wiki, let's say. Everybody have access. We don't need to say people, okay, this is where the document is. No, let's go to the wiki and see how the teams are. Okay, what do we have in our wiki? What is web? So you can use any web standard like HTML, JavaScript, SVG, scalable vector graphics, you know. Okay, perfect. So we did some research and we found some libraries in JavaScript that I will just explain later. And we got these rows, but everything was automatically updated. So whenever somebody filled the form, we had the arrows going up and down. So it was accessible to everybody in the company because it was in the corporate wiki. And this allowed us to have more information available because in the previous version it was very difficult. It was Mandrolic to just enter all the data by hand, like colors and so on. But if we had to do these arrows for the trends and so on, it was out of scope totally. So we said, no way. But we iterated more, and we said, okay, this is nice, but it looks somehow old. Like the design is not very good, and we came into this. colors are slightly better because this green is, the green is not that fluorescent. So slightly dim, but it was like that, and this was actually very good because it took the attention of a lot of people and they were asking questions. But it was one of our main objectives, like people asking questions, like, okay, don't look at the arrows. There's some arrows going down and up, but those are not that important because we have seen some trends that sometimes when you start working with the team, they feel happy because they are getting some attention, but after 1 month maybe they stabilize, and after that month maybe they are go up. So. And I wanted to show you how we did this. So mainly we found this D3. I don't know if you know the library. No? Okay. D3 is data-driven documents. It was done, well, I don't know if it was done only by Mike Bostock as the main contributor, or the guy who has the GitHub and all that stuff is Mike Bostock, that I think he was working for New York Times. It's highly used for journalism because in journalism it's more and more frequent to have all these kind of nice infographics and so on. So, but it can be used in a lot of stuff, so you will see. It's a JavaScript library for manipulating documents based on data. And to me, the important part is that it's based on web standards. So you don't need any extra stuff. You don't need to install any program in your computer. You just need a web browser, and then you have all the data. Perfect. So, first of all, I wanted to show you how you can select and you can mutate nodes. Because when you have a DOM tree, and you know JavaScript, HTML, I hope. Okay, yeah, no, because otherwise this is hard to explain. Okay, let's say that you have the DOM tree and then you have all the elements like the, I don't know, headings, paragraphs, in the bold. So the selection employs the W3C selector string that is the same that you have used a query, is exactly the same. Like you have sub whatever for IDs, dot whatever for classes and so on. You can try to set attributes or styles in a declarative approach. So let's see the example before going further. So here we have a text that is pretty simple. Like we have a heading, 2 paragraphs with some bold letter. So we can say, okay, I'm going to select all the paragraphs and I'm going to change the color to gray. I'm going to comment this line. So this change the color to gray, perfect. Demo. But you can also try to select only one element. So I'm going to select all the body and I'm going to change the background color. So that's it. Bye. It's working. And you can try also to select the inside the paragraphs. I'm going to search for all the bold elements and I'm going to change the text to plain. So this $, here, that is a strong letter. So I'm going to change it to plain. It's pretty powerful, pretty declarative. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do and this is what I'm actually doing. So to me, this is perfect. And we can try to register some event listeners too, like when you are doing things with your mouse or key types. So whenever I mouse over this pane, I'm going to change the color to red. I can change color to red. And whenever I go out, then I can do this mouse over, mouse over. So, this is good, but it's not that powerful. It's because it's very good, but the important part to me is the dynamic properties, because all these kind of things that we are doing, instead of setting a static value like red or gray or so, you can have a function, and then you can give it the data array you have, and then you can transform that array in order to say, okay, whenever I have a score of 1, then I'm going to show red, Now I have a score of 5, I'm going to show green. So you can see another different example. This is shorter. It's just, I'm going to assign a random value to the colors of the paragraph. So I don't know what's going to happen because it's going to be random. And funny. Oh, next. So this is random, and this is where the power of D3 is. So in order to make things simpler, D3 has what they call scales. That the scales are functions that map the dimensions of abstract data, the data you have of your domain world, to visual representation. So you can map, I don't know, scores to colors, or you can map themes ordinals, like to the pixels in the screen. That's it. So you have to say your input is your domain, the output is range. So input, domain, output, range, input. Okay, colaborative. What an audience. Come on. Input,
Domain,
output,
range.
Nice. That's good. So let's see the example. Here we are going to try to build this scatter plot that we were using. So basically I have a CSV with all the data. Like this. I haven't worked very hard, so we just have the team names and different categories and some numbers that I have just tried to move around. So there is a directive in D3 that you can just load the CSVs. In D3 CSV, it loads the data and it calls back the function, just a fallback function to use that data. So I have some manipulation of the data. This is not very important. So, oops. First of all, we are going to create the x-axis. So in the x-axis, we are going to use the themes as domain, and the range is from 0 to width minus the margin. So it's going to be left. So we declare the axis that is going to be in the top, because it's axis top is going to be there. And then we append this axis to the SVG, to the global chart. It works. Okay, here I think I have 6 themes. Here, the 6th one is out of the theme. Sorry. We are going to do the same for y-axis, but with the areas. So it's exactly the same. We declare the domain areas. Here we use the height. This is the y. And we are going to put it in the left. So now, I'm happy because this live demo is it's a risk. Now what we are going to do is to add the values to the different dots here. So this is somehow more complicated. And what we are going to do is to append a group, and we are going to move it to where it should be based on. No, we are going to move the group. The group is going to be moved here. And inside the group, we are going to enter the dots. Yeah, sometimes you need to play with this. Because I will show you now. If you don't move the group, what happens? So it's because what we are doing here is we take the values as data. And for each of those values, we are creating a path that is this circle, because we assign a symbol. Here we assign a symbol, and we are moving it to the place where it should be. So in the X is going to be according to the team, in the Y is going to be according to the area. So that's it. if we didn't move the group, it happened this. So this is why we are moving that. The last thing we need to do is to color the dots. So we say, okay, dots are okay, but this gives us no information, so let's color them. So we are going to create a sequence that is going to quantize. It's going to, like, if it is a 1, it's going to be red. If it is 3, or in the middle, let's say, it's going to be orange, and if it is a 5, it's going to be green. And it's going to interpolate and do some kind of stuff. So for each of them, we are going to change the style, the dots. And this is what happened. Suddenly all the colors are there. You can try to play more. It's like, because we were playing in our chart, we were playing to change the symbol according to the data trends and so on. So it's something that it's quite easy to do. Okay. I wanted to show you some experiments that we ran. But, this can be funny or not. But, it was crazy. Well, to me it was funny. So I had the possibility to use the data, try to do some weird stuff, and I need to wait for Google. This is something. Okay, but yeah. You say, okay, what's this? Okay, this is kind of okay. We have all this data that we have been accumulating during a long time. This is June last year, and this is now. And maybe we can see the evolution of all the things and try to compare, have the average, something. The thing was hard, but you have the legend that can help you. You can just choose the things that you want. You can try to change the area, like, okay, learning, maybe that's okay, it's like over 3.5, around 4. But what happens with mission? Okay, mission, they started very good, now they are not that good anymore. Easy to release is chaos, like you can imagine everything. I don't like to show you this, but it's what happens. You have the monolith, because I think we are critical. It's like for mission, I think maybe you are not so critical for your code, your release, and so on. You are super critical. Like, okay, this is really hard, it's a pain in the ass. And you have some nice things. But, and you can add some events in the timeline using some external library. This was done by Twitter, it's pretty useful. But we did some more things, like, okay, we have done this, but we have another hypothesis that it was like, okay, we are measuring with averages, but averages are not that good. And you are using this 1 to 5 scales, it's like, okay, if I vote the 1 and you vote the 5, our average is 3, but maybe I'm not very happy about that average. Neither you. So we said, okay, let's see how the teams are voting, like in detail. Like, okay, this team is more or less positive in general. They have this problem with the release, but they are more or less aligned. So it was something that, and it was pretty more the same for everyone. So the pain was there. It was like, okay, everybody agrees that the release sucks, but the other areas are more or less okay. We are happy compared to working. So, and this one was the craziest idea, I think. I know, I would love it. Yeah, this is when you love threads and all this stuff, but physical threads. Okay, this was to compare, like, we were trying to find correlation between different areas. We were saying, okay, maybe the things that are more lacking mission, it's difficult for them that they are delivering value or they feel like owners of their destiny and so on. So looking at the screen, it was really hard to see anything, but as soon as you start playing, things makes more sense. That's it. So you can try to say, okay, let's say the things that feels bad, like being bounds or players. So what are the similarities? They all suck in the release, so no problem. But they are not having fun. The support they are receiving is not that good. You could try to move some of these around, like, okay, let's group together support, circular process. And you could play with a lot of stuff. Like, okay, which ones are the ones that are receiving support but feels bad? So in the end, it was pretty useful because you could, yeah, as you can see, you can manage a lot of things. And this is so simple to create with D3 and libraries. Yeah, so I recommend you to go into this because it can be used for anything. We are using it for things, but you can use it for your logs. I don't know. You can create beautiful maps with color kits. They call it chloroplates. So yeah. Don't follow people in Twitter. Okay, so how we did it? This is. You saw before that when I was creating this scatter plot, D3, I will show the slides, but you can write. And some charts are not there because they are live in my machine, so that is. When you were trying to create this scatter plot, it was pretty hard because you have to define the scale, you have to define the axis, the width, everything. You have to control everything, and it was bad. But MVD3 makes it very, very simple. By default, you can have these charts that I was showing you, that you have the chart, you have the legend is clickable, you have tooltips over the different things. That you have to do it with D3, you have to do it by hand. So I recommend MVD3. And we were using Angular just to do the data lining. So we have this combo box list. So whenever you change the team name or whenever you change the category, then it switches the data and it was pretty easy. So I wanted to show you how you can use it. It's just a simple example. I'm not going to go into much detail. So here we have the Angular line chart that is random. So I have a button to refresh here. That is going anything. When I click it, it's going to call the refresh function in Angular. Have you used Angular anytime? Okay. Because this is more or less familiar, the ng app. This is a directive of this MVD3 Angular library, let's say. And this is based on this work, because this was a planter. I didn't want to go into much detail because my code is more complicated. It's more, but the idea is the same. So you don't need to go into that level of detail to start playing. So this is where it's really, really powerful. That you just declare what you want. It's like, okay, I want a chart. The type of the chart is going to be a line chart. So it's going to be based on lines. Height is going to be 450 margins. This is where I declare my X function. So here I could have, in the previous example, I could say, okay, in the X I want the team, so it's going to be d.team. In the Y is going to be d.area. Here is different because it's built in an array of arrays, so it's the same. And the average is just to, it's not showing the average. I don't know why. Okay, I don't know. Okay. Colors, so on. And you have the x-axis. Yeah, this is important sometimes. But sometimes you have some functions in D3 to format numbers, dates, and so on. So here you have percentages. So you have a easy way with the format to show it. We initialize data with generating randomly, and whenever I click in the refresh button, it's going to refresh it and randomly generate it again. So the function to generate it randomly is just creating here some time stamps and pushing some values, random values. So you can click and everything switches and it works. Wow. Perfect. Okay, that's it. That's it for the whole part. Next thing we did was what we named Agile Excellence. We weren't good at naming. We didn't know if we use Agile Excellence, Agile Maturity, Agile whatever. It was just how deep our teams were in the Kanban implementation. It was like, okay, we read these articles by David Anderson and by Christopher Asurians that were saying, okay, we have these 6 practices in Kanban. But, you have the manage flow, feedback loops, and limiting work in progress. And we want to understand which practices the teams are doing and how far they have gone. So it was okay. And on the other hand, we wanted to see the effects because it was important for us that, okay, you are doing all this stuff, you should be expecting to see these effects. Because maybe otherwise you are lying or cheating. So, and this was a challenge because the examples were not as good as the Spotify one. With the Spotify one was okay, yeah, so we can see the scatter plot, we can see all these trends and so on. But here we had some radar charts or spider charts, this kind of things. And we were trying different approaches because we said, okay, maybe they are doing this, but they are starting to do it. I don't know if you are familiar with this Suhari thing of the martial arts. Okay, so Suhari is like you follow the rules, you break the rules, and you are the rules. so it's like doing this kind of stuff, and we were trying to follow that kind of approach. Like, okay, are they following the rules, but they don't understand them? Are they breaking the rules because they understand why they are following the rules? Or are they creating the rules? So it was kind of but it was not working, as you can imagine, with all that stuff, messy stuff. Because we needed the tool to support our teams and we needed to be actionable. So we said, okay, this team is in this current status. So what do we need to move to the next step? But not to the that step, not just the little steps. So we said, okay, let's change it a bit. Let's look for some inspiration. This was crazy, but when you start following Twitter, yeah, you see a lot of stuff like, okay, there were charts for the evolution of traffic accidents. This one I think it was for the weather and so on. But it was like, okay, you can see the evolution in a circle. This like the circle is the metaphor of the clock. Kind of nice. And we created our own tool. And we said, okay, let's see how the tool is, how the team is now. So we can say, okay, we have all these different areas. We have a team. This is a pretty new team, so they have only started doing one thing. Okay. So they have started by defining the different work types that they have and creating some templates to say, okay, this is the kind of information I need in order to do this kind of type of work. So. And you can easily see that maybe you need next steps and you can try to understand. If you go to some other more mature teams, then they can have started to do a lot of stuff. And in this case, it's more like, okay, they are doing all this. Which one should be the next step? And you can see that they are missing some gaps, but they are pretty advanced. But this was not enough, because this was good for the day-to-day work, but to see the evolution of the teams, oops. We said, okay, maybe we need to look at the evolution if they are going forward or backward, because maybe you start doing something, but suddenly, I don't know, you have a bossy manager that is saying, oh no, stop doing that. You need to do, what is that of Slack? You want a Slack time? You are fucking crazy. So we said, okay, let's see how the teams are evolving. In this case, it was pretty good. This is read more or less like you have time, the older months are like, it's going clockwise. So, and the different colors have the different areas. So the right approach would be like the red one, that they started a few things, and month after month they are adding more things, and they are like in the darker colors is that they internalize they go to this approach. Like, okay, I understand the practices. So, and they were going down in this area. More or less they are okay. But as I said before, this is quite subjective because it's based on Agile Coach's opinion and so on, so it's not that easy. And we put everything in a wall to say, okay, what is the current status of all our teams? And we said, okay, nice. And this is where we could help the different teams going from one to the other and asking questions like, okay, we are having a lot of issues limiting our work in progress, and I see that you are the very best on this area. So how are you dealing with your managers when they go to you and say, you must do this, and you say, no, my grip is cool. So, yeah. So that was important. And of course, we tried to do some experiments. Oh, it looks very nice. Yeah. This was pretty crazy. The idea is to have a Cartesian product, like you can correlate one area to the next one. So here you have visualize with limit width, so on. So maybe there is some correlation. So if you have the upper you are, is the better, and in this the most to the right you are, the better. So it was, and we could say, okay, let's see the teams who are very good limiting their work in progress and visualizing their work, how they are in different areas, and then you could say, okay, they are not very good in feedback loops, they are not very good at improving, but this was what we were expecting because of this. Visualizing your work and limiting your work in progress is much easier than continuously improving. Like you need to do some kind of, I don't know, project hackathons or retrospective, or so. It's harder. And visualizing is just, you create a board, you put it in the wall, and then you try to be some kind of disciplined, but it's not that bad. And we can change because we said, okay, we have different locations, we have things in Barcelona, Madrid, Stockholm. So we could say, oh, maybe there is some bias, but the things in Madrid are having issues with some area. We didn't find anything. So it was just it was an experiment. It was cheap and it was funny. So that's it for this part. And go back to the other one. Using the magic. Because I wanted to share some. Oops. My knowledge of PowerPoint is zero, now you can see. No, it's okay. Okay, here I just wanted to share some links, but we will share the PowerPoint, so you don't need to work on. But I wanted to share the learnings on what we learned by doing this stuff and this work with the different teams. First of all, you need to find what you want to measure, because not every metric is good. You need to measure those metrics that help you to take actions. If you are measuring something that you cannot act on that, then don't measure that, because it's not going to help you. In order to find the right information, you need to make the right answer, the right questions, because we were finding that sometimes the way we were formulating the questions to the teams were biasing their answers. Because you ask a team, are you happy with this or something like that? Maybe they say, no, just don't kill me. But if you state it in a neutral way, like, okay, this is a statement, and do you agree with that statement or do you disagree? Maybe it's better. We have some issues of biasing. Evolution, start simple. If you think that is helping, go further. If you don't, then pivot to something different. So, quite simple. Use the metrics. don't go to a team and say, okay, oh, you suck. Sorry, I go to. No, let's try to do some actions and say, okay, what can we do in order to improve, and what is the smallest step that you can take to go further? Because sometimes if you are very low, if I play versus, I don't know, Real Madrid players or Barcelona players, I'm going to lose for sure. Maybe if I play in a team in my neighborhood, maybe it's simpler for me. This was important to share the metrics, share your metrics, but don't be too fast. Don't be like so urgent that you need to share as soon as possible. First, you need to understand your data, what it means to you, and because as soon as you share it, it's going to create some questions. Some people is going to question your data, it's going to question how you are using your data, and so on. So be prepared for that. And that's it. This is, I don't know which one is Tony, which one is me. And in the other one, it was more or less the same. These are additional resources that you can see. What I said, D3 and DB3 basic. The Google Sheets API is the one we are using for extracting data from Google Sheets. But you can use, if you have your own data base or anything, then you can use JSON, you can use anything. And Labella, this is a nice library by Twitter that it positions labels on your axis, and it has an algorithm to balance them. Like if you try to write like I don't know, a dozen different labels, maybe they overlap. And it has an algorithm in order to split them in 3 different rows or so they don't overlap. Repeatedly. You can follow some people in Twitter if you want to go crazy on data visualization. It's one of the most important. My boss talk is the guy who created the library. He has some nice visualizations too. Flowing data and Alberto Cairo, I think they were the same. No, flowing data is Nathan Yu, I think. No, Stephanie Evergreen. This girl is very, very good. If you use Excel, if you love Excel for whatever the reason, and you want to do visualization, follow Evergreen, because she has very nice articles on creating charts in Excel that don't suck as charts in Excel. Yeah. If you follow any of this, you will never do a pie chart again. Data Sketches is a new project by Nadia Bremer and another girl. Forget the name. Nadia Bremer is very, very good. She has this kind of nice visualizations with examples and so on. So. And Alberto Cairo is very good too. So you can follow any time. And if you want to read some books, then I haven't read all of them, so, but there are a lot. So you have data points, you have. I have read the first 2, yes, but the other 2 were recommended by all these people. So I think they are very good. And that's it. That's, questions? Anything interesting using the libraries?
I have one question. It's about when you were talking about the feeling of the teams, and you mentioned a survey.
Yes.
Is
very
this
good.
anonymous or?
Yeah, very good question, in fact, because we had like different learnings there. It was an anonymous survey because when we were running these face-to-face meetings, we saw that some people were biased. Yeah, there was some kind of peer pressure. Like if you vote a 5, I'm going to change my 2 to a 3 at least, maybe a 4. So we wanted to avoid that bias, but on the other hand, we read in this article that it's important to have this kind of face-to-face conversation because it's where the value is. Like if you have an issue in the team, it's better to speak openly and to say, okay, we have an issue. So what can we do in order to fix it?
And then another is, when you were doing the visualization for the Agile Excellence, where did you get the data from?
Yeah, this was a very long, we have a survey that is very, very long, because for each area you have like 6 to 10 questions, and they are like from beginner to advanced, or for limiting work in progress, you can start by something simple like stop starting and stop finishing. Then you can add something like personal Kanban, that you can limit the work in progress per person. Like, no person is going to do more than 2 tasks at the same time. And then you can start doing workflow, work in progress, like only 3 tickets are going to be developed at the same time, otherwise we per program or do whatever. So it was an evolution. Like, okay, these are the steps that we want to take with the teams, and we need to evaluate
Where each team is.
But it was pretty subjective. Maybe you are a very hard agile coach, so you say, oh, this team doesn't understand anything. Then they are pretty low in the scale. You are too optimistic. You say, okay, this team has managed to manage interdependent the workflows and so on, and that's not easy to achieve. It's something that is very difficult.
Thank you.
More questions? This is a presentation about how we are using practical metrics and visualization to support our teams. Tony couldn't come because he had an ankle injury. And we both work in eDreams ODIGEO as agile coaches, and our mission is to support our teams in order to deliver great software and value to our customers. This is a slide, maybe you know it. Thanks sponsors, because thanks to you we are able to do these events, and it's a very, very good event. So as I said, our main focus are the teams, so we want to help them in order to make it easier for them to deliver this great software for our customers, because we are an online travel agency and then we need to protect. This is me in the picture. We are using Kanban to visualize our work, so our method, we are transforming our company into an agile company, and our approach is to, we have chosen Kanban because it's not too important, because it's just a metric that it could be helpful for forecasting. If you want to do probabilistic forecasting, it's helpful, but it doesn't mean it's not good for comparing teams. You cannot compare teams, say this team is delivering, I don't know, 30 tickets a month, and this other team is delivering only 10 tickets, because maybe the size of the tickets are different, or the difficulty of the tickets are different, so it's not something that you need to compare. To visualize this, we are using Daniel Vacanti's tool. I strongly recommend the Daniel Vacanti's book if you are interested in actionable agile metrics. And I don't know if you are familiar with CFDs, but basically you can see the total work in progress that you have, the approximate average cycle time that you have. So if you go this direction, these are the timelines. And you can see your throughput, that is the slot, let's say. We have ECBI, that is a plugin for Jira, so we can manage this. We don't need to program anything. And we can see things like the evolution of throughput during time, the branch up, lightweight approach, and our idea is to visualize all the work we have to do and to limit our work in process. So this is why you can see a lot of post-its, that we have lots of things to do, but we are focusing on the most important ones. These are the principles and values. That main principles are that you start with what you are doing. and then you try to find an evolutionary approach to what you should be doing. With the practices, main practices are, we are trying to start from the top, visualizing a limited width, because it's easier to just visualize the work you have to do and to limit the amount of work that you can do to balance that. And everything else will come. So we will try to improve and evolve, but first we need to understand what we are doing. So in order to do this, it was very important for us to reflect on what we were doing. So it was very important for us to try to understand what the teams were doing and how they were feeling and all this stuff, because it was, as I said, very important. In order to do this, we were using two different kinds of metrics. We have objective metrics that are just data, pure data. That is objective, so time is objective, so you cannot change it. The amount of tickets that you are delivering is subjective. And we have some subjective metrics. Subjective metrics are based on personal feelings, like maybe today I'm very happy, but maybe I have another different day that I have a hard situation, so I don't feel that happy. Regarding objective metrics, the main metrics we are using this Jira approach with beautiful cat colors. This is a hack. And we try to understand the lead time of a ticket, of a work item. So I don't like to name them tickets, but this is Jira. So what is important is that we have a feature that we need to deliver to some of our users because it's going to cover their needs. And we need to understand when we start working on that feature and the time it takes to deliver that feature to the customer. So that's the lead time. On the other hand, we have different times where there is nobody working on that item because maybe it's blocked because you are waiting for an answer, or maybe you have some dependency or some people who have to develop an API, or maybe it's just working because you structure your work, so you have analysts, you have developers, you have testers, and as we are in a resource efficiency mindset that everybody needs to be busy, then you finish your work, you put it in the desk of the other guy, and you wait for him to work. So that's what comes to flow efficiency. Flow efficiency is a metric that is the active time that you are working in a ticket, adding value to that, divided by the lead time, that is the total time that you take to deliver the usual metrics in teams of people who are measuring this flow efficiency is around 15%. So 1 out of 6 time nobody is working on the items. This is because this is why projects are late. It's not because you are very bad. It's just because you are trying to be all very busy, and then nobody is working on the project. And the last metric is the throughput. The throughput is just a measure of the number of items that the output that you generate. To us, this is